When you flip that switch in your room, the darkness just vanishes. But have you ever really thought about what's happening inside that simple glass bulb? Most of us just think electricity goes in, light comes out, but the real story is so much deeper. Behind a simple light bulb, there's a world of heavy-duty physics, from quantum mechanics all the way to blackbody radiation. In this video, we're going on a journey, starting with those old-school yellow bulbs, incandescent, then moving to the fluorescent tubes in our offices, and finally to the bright LEDs in all of our homes. Our first stop is that nostalgic warm yellow light bulb we all know, the incandescent. Its principle is actually really simple. If you heat anything up hot enough, it will start to glow. But how does it get so hot? Inside, there's a tiny coiled wire, the filament, usually made of a metal called tungsten, which can handle extreme heat. When we send an electric current through this wire, millions of electrons try to flow through it. But this is not an easy trip. The wire puts up a lot of resistance to those electrons. Think about it like trying to sprint down a super crowded hallway. You'd be constantly bumping into people, right? Well, the electrons are constantly colliding with the atoms of the metal wire. With every single collision, they transfer some of their kinetic energy to the atoms. This constant bumping and energy transfer causes the wire to heat up, like insanely hot. Okay, so it's hot. Why does it glow? This simple question is what kicked off the entire quantum mechanics revolution back in 1900. The answer is called blackbody radiation. This physical law says the hotter an object gets, the higher the frequency, or the bluer the light it emits. It doesn't matter if it's iron or tungsten. What matters isn't the material, it's the temperature. At the atomic level, it's pure chaos. The electrons, the atomic vibrations, which we call phonons, they're all interacting, accelerating, and finding a way to dump all that excess energy by emitting electromagnetic waves, photons, light. Need more light? You need more particles doing this. That means you need more surface area. That's exactly why the filament isn't a straight wire. It's wound into a tight coil, or a helix. But here comes the engineering trade-off. A longer wire means more resistance, which means less current, which means less heat. The solution? Make the wire incredibly thin. It's a delicate balance to get the right light and temperature. So what's the problem? To produce visible light, these bulbs have to reach insane temperatures, like 4,000 to 5,000 Kelvin. And, get this, over 90% of the energy they use is wasted as heat. Yes, an incandescent bulb isn't really a light bulb. It's a heater first. That just happens to produce a little bit of light as a side effect. This massive inefficiency meant we needed something smarter. And so, the fluorescent lamp was invented. Now we get to those long white tubes you see in schools and offices. Fluorescence. We're not just heating a wire anymore. We're using a much more elegant quantum trick, exciting atoms. If you look inside a fluorescent tube, and please don't break one, I'll tell you why in a sec. What do you see? There's no filament. Instead, you have a sealed tube with a vacuum, a tiny bit of mercury vapor, and some noble gas, like argon. At each end, you have a metal conductor, an electrode. Now you flip the switch. First, you know that flickering moment when they first turn on? That's this. To ignite the gas inside, to ionize that noble gas and start the cycle of free electrons, the electrodes at the ends have to heat up and create high-voltage bursts. That flicker is the system trying to spark. Once it's going, we have lots of free electrons in the tube. These electrons get accelerated by the voltage and start flying around. And what do? Just like in the incandescent bulb, they collide. But this time, they're colliding with the mercury atoms. This is where the discrete world of quantum mechanics kicks in. A mercury atom won't just accept any energy. Only if an electron with the exact right amount of energy hits it, will the atom absorb that energy and jump to a higher energy state. It becomes excited. But no atom likes to stay excited. It's unstable. It immediately wants to dump that extra energy and fall back to its ground state. And how does it dump that energy? By spitting out a photon. Light. But there's a problem. The light that mercury atoms emit is high-energy ultraviolet light. UV. We can't see it. So, how are we seeing? That's where that white, powdery fluorescent coating on the inside of the glass tube comes in. That invisible, high-energy UV photon, fresh from the mercury atom, flies out and slams into this fluorescent coating. The coating's atoms absorb this high-energy UV photon, which is much more energetic than a visible light photon. The coating absorbs this extra energy, losing some of it as heat, as phonons, and then re-emits its own photons at a much lower energy level. And those lower energy photons, that's the visible light we see. So a fluorescent lamp is a two-step energy converter, electricity to invisible UV to visible light. How do you make it brighter? It's all about the number of collisions inside. The denser the mercury vapor and electrons, the more UV, and thus the more visible light you get. But there's a limit. If you add too much mercury, the electrons will keep bumping into them before they can get up to speed, and the excitation efficiency actually drops. Again, it's a balance. Pretty clever, right? Way more efficient than an incandescent. But it has two big problems. One, that mercury is vapor. If the tube breaks, that mercury is toxic. Two, we're still losing energy in that conversion from UV to visible light, that absorption step. We had to do better. We needed something non-toxic, even more efficient, and smaller. And so, the semiconductor revolution began. And that brings us to today. From your phone screen to that tiny, powerful bulb in your ceiling, the LED. It stands for light emitting diode. Here we're not heating a wire, we're not sparking a gas. Here we are using the super technology of quantum mechanics, semiconductors. What's a semiconductor? It's right in the name. It semiconducts. It's a special material that you have to give a little energy push to get it to conduct electricity. Engineers work magic with these materials. They dope them or add impurities to create two different types. For N-type diode, they add atoms that have extra electrons, flooding the material with free negative charges. For P-type diode, they add atoms that steal electrons, leaving behind electron holes. These holes act like positive charges, attracting electrons. Now, you take these two materials and you press them together like a sandwich. You've just created a diode, and an LED is just a special diode that's designed to glow. So how does this sandwich make light? Imagine it this way. The N-type side, with all its extra electrons, is a high energy level. Think of it as water at the top of a waterfall. The P-type side, with all its holes, is a low energy level. It's the lake at the bottom of the waterfall. When we apply a voltage to this diode in the right direction, we are basically opening the floodgates. The electrons, the water, rush from the high energy N side down the waterfall and fall into the holes on the low energy P side. And what's the rule of quantum mechanics? When a particle falls from a high energy state to a low energy state, it must release that extra energy. And how does it release it? You guessed it, as a photon, as light. This is the miracle. We are converting electricity directly into light. No hot filament, no toxic gas, just a quantum jump. And you know what's even cooler? Engineers can tune that energy gap, the height of the waterfall, to be whatever they want. By changing the materials, they can decide if the light released is red, green, blue, any color. Want more light? You just make more electrons fall down the waterfall. You increase the current. Of course, there's a limit, a saturation point, for how many electrons in holes you can use at once. This technology is incredibly efficient. Almost all the energy goes into light. There are still some small losses, but for right now, this is the best we've got. So there you have it. Behind the simple act of flipping a switch, there's a magnificent physical journey, from the brute force chaos of a glowing hot wire, to the quantum dance of excited mercury atoms, to the electron waterfalls inside a semiconductor. That, in a nutshell, is how our lamps work. I hope the next time you look at that tiny LED, you'll see the quantum miracle happening inside. Thank you for watching, and remember, knowledge is liberty.